The leaks for Boruto chapter 23 have just been released, and I don't even know where to begin because this chapter is actually crazy. Before I even preface the video, you probably even saw it in the thumbnail. I had to include it. Forgive me, Kawaki. I believed in you the whole time, but I didn't believe you could go this crazy. I don't even know how to segue it, but let's just go into the leaks because this chapter is absolutely crazy, and I'm already letting you guys know it's a 10 out of 10. You feel me? It's a 10 out of 10. There is nothing I can say, but let's just get into the spoilers. Because we begin with a Mitsuki who is taking on the claw grinds by himself. He just finished taking on all of the claw grinds by himself that remained, protecting Sarada by himself while he's letting Ayara go and deal and catch Ryu's Sword. We have a Konohama who ends up catching up with Mitsuki, and then Mitsuki is like, yo, let's go and back up Boruto, let's go and try and help him out, but Konohama ends up telling him not to, that the whole point of him even leaving that fight was due to Boruto wanting to fight Jura alone and not let them get into the way, and have them take all the information and resources they have, like the Soul Thorn that they learned from this battle, and go somewhere else to retreat. And then we end up going back to Boruto versus Jura, and this fight looks absolutely cold. We see a beautiful fight scene between Jura and Boruto, with a Boruto and a Jura who are standing off. Jura obviously looking cold with his hands in his pockets, and then the fight begins. The fight begins with Jura already landing a hit on Boruto. It seemed like it pierced Boruto's stomach, but it didn't hit any vital points. And then Jura ends up noting that the reason why some of his snipe shots are not as effective is due to the fact of the wind that he may not be taking into account that is playing a factor into that. And if you do know anything about sniping from long distance, you do know that you have to take into account things like wind and how it will affect where exactly the bullet is going to end up going. But this is what we see end up taking place, and Jura is explaining that that's the reason why he missed. So he says he's going to go in close quarters and focus on his close range and mid-range rifle types Biju bombs to hit Boruto, and that's what he proceeds to do in this fight. We see Boruto flying around, dodging various different Biju bombs, using kunais, and then using the flying Raijin to end up hitting Jura. We see that he lands a couple of hits, and he even is able to hit Jura using his sword, and he is able to cut some of Jura's pieces of Jura's body. And I really like this fight right here. Looking at this right now, I think this is some of the best choreography we would have. Like, this is on the level of chapter 66. Ikimoto is really in his bag, and I really wouldn't be surprised that after I take more time to digest it, even seeing this in higher quality, this is probably going to be my favorite fight of the Boruto series thus far, and it could even end up being one of my favorite chapters, because we end up seeing a Boruto and a Jura fight. They're exchanging multiple punches, and I love this panel right here of like the almost multiple arms that we start seeing from Jura, where he's hitting Boruto continuously. He ends up grabbing Boruto, and then we go back to the panel that we saw in the sneak peek of Boruto landing his purple lightning. After that fact occurs, we see a Jura who ends up telling Boruto he is starting to move pretty sluggish. This is what Jura ends up telling Boruto. Now we have a Jura who's explaining to Boruto that instead of just blasting Telbe's bombs, he's just going to focus on beating him to death, as that's going to be a lot quicker than trying to land some of his Biju bombs. And that's what we see him proceed to do. He ends up grabbing Boruto, punching him in the stomach, and then Boruto falls to the ground, where he unleashes a Biju bomb. Boruto is able to escape it, I believe using one of the flying Raijins, but due to the quality of the page, it doesn't look that clear. Then we see Jura versus Boruto, a sword slash between his clog mark and Boruto's sword, where we end up seeing a crack end up appearing on the sword that Sasuke ended up giving Boruto. And we already know, due to the last chapter, how much that sword holds a lot of meaning for Boruto. However, Boruto is just pushed away to the side, and then we have a panel of Boruto basically on the ground, and he is unconscious. Ida is saying, it's no use anymore, I can't watch this. If this keeps up, Boruto will really die. But we have a Kashin Koji who has his hands on his head. It looks like, oh, this is over. It looks like like Kashin Koji has truly seen fear. And this is where I thought, okay, Momoshiki's finna pop in, Momoshiki's gonna go crazy, but no. Kashin Koji, if you look at his eye, when you guys end up seeing this, or you guys see the spoilers for his second, it kind of looks like the Byakugan. However, in this instance, the veins are inside the eye instead of being outside the skin, like surrounding the eye, which is pretty interesting to see because we don't really see too much of, we see a bit of a shadow, which could indicate that this is Kashin Koji's pupil. I won't lie, but it does look a lot reminiscent to the Byakugan in my opinion. And here we have a Kashin Koji says that he has an update, meaning that he is about to see the future. And yet again, Kashin Koji is able to see the various different paths. And obviously I'll be saving this more, some of the things we see in these spoilers for a future video, but all we do need to know is that he just got an update. And it does end up telling us that, as I thought, there are some limitations. Kashin Koji is not always seeing the future, he's getting periodically updated. This could be due to the fact that he is not an actual Otsutsuki, a bit like how there are limitations to Ida's omnipotence due to her not being fully Otsutsuki. But in this case, we have Kashin Koji who ends up being able to see the future maybe ever so often. In this case, it was, I believe, 6 days before, it was 6 days after he had already seen the future, and thus he couldn't predict what is about to happen next. But based off his prediction, he says that something is coming. And we have Jura who says, oh, he's still breathing, but he is unconscious. And he is noting how the Otsutsukis are pretty tough, and how Boruto, even after being unconscious, he won't let go of his blade. This reminds me a bit of Rock Lee, who was fighting while he still was unconscious. He was standing up. In this case, Boruto's on the floor, but he's still grabbing on to Sasuke's sword. And Jura says that in honor of that extraordinary spirit, Otsutsuki Boruto, I'll at least make it quick. I'll blow you away. This is where we see something that I could have never expected. And I'm only not too hyped because I thought it was fake at first. I thought it was fake. I thought it couldn't be real. But this is really Kawaki. And to be 100% honest, it makes me feel weird because Kawaki is too strong. How is it even possible? I don't want to scream in this video. I just woke up. But Jura gets speared in the eye by Kawaki, and he just popped in out of nowhere. Why does he have too much aura? Somebody stop Kawaki, because now I'm actually getting scared, because from what I'm seeing in just these few panels, it might be a long day for Boruto. Boruto might need a new power up, because Kawaki, I didn't expect him to get this strong. I expect him still to be losing to Jura, like it's still to be tough, but we don't know exactly, like these are just a few panels. We don't know if Jura definitely was caught off guard. We can't deny that, but the aura that radiates from Boruto, the aura that is coming out of Kawaki at this moment, it's something else. And this is perfect. And we end up seeing Kawaki say, yeah, he really is a monster. Guess something like this won't kill him. So Jura is clearly not dead, but he did end up stopping Boruto's attack. I really wonder some of the body of the Shinju and how it operates exactly, because maybe have some crazy durability feats with that not being able to kill him because of his brain and all. But then we have Ada who says, huh? Kawaki? Wait, what's going on? And Koji says, a different update. It's been about 6 days since the last one. This was what I was explaining when I was saying that he gets periodically updated. So for a period of time, he doesn't know exactly what's going to happen. Then we have a Kashin Koji who ends up saying Kawaki joins in. This is a development I've never seen before. That Boruto, in these past few days, he must have told Kawaki something, right? And this is what I was talking about a little later, where Boruto as a singularity of fate can change the future. Thus his actions that are not in the realm of possibilities of Kashin Koji, due to the fact that Kashin Koji has told Boruto about the future. Now Boruto can enact and do something that can change that future. And this is exactly what is happening right here. We end up seeing Delta, who makes an appearance through the location that Konohamaru told Mitsuki to end up going to, and this does end up proving that this was a plan between Boruto and Kawaki this entire time. We have a Delta who comes through, just making sure Konohamaru, Mitsuki, and Sarada are safe, and this is the update that is provided. So Kawaki and Delta did end up going, which does reinforce the fact that Kawaki did in fact get his limiters removed. And just looking at his new design, I just love Kawaki's new design. I love that he's still repping the leaf, the Konoha headband. I think that this looks great, and I'm really loving what we're seeing right here. Now we end up going back to the fight between Jura and Kawaki, where we end up seeing Kawaki, who still has his staff in the eye of Jura, but Jura is still trying to land an attack, where we have Kawaki, who ends up shrinking himself, leading to him being able to go away. Kawaki ends up turning himself back to normal and is attempting to pierce Jura with a few of his staffs on some Ishiki type vibes. Jura ends up guarding against them, but it still pierces him in a way, but Jura doesn't care. He ends up launching a Bijou Bomb in Kawaki's direction. And then we see right here that Boruto, it appears like he's starting to wake up. And what we're seeing here is that Jura is still able to rival Boruto and Kawaki. He's still able to fight both of them at this current moment. So I'm not saying that Kawaki is stronger than Jura. Jura is definitely caught off guard, as there was no way he could have predicted that Kawaki would come in any shape or form. It wasn't like it was any hinted. Kawaki just spawned, and he can make himself small, and he can make himself smaller and reappear. So this is a pretty tough one for Jura. So I'm not going to say that Jura is weaker than Kawaki, but from what we're seeing right here, is going to take the collective efforts of a weakened Boruto and a Kawaki with all his limiters removed. So what is really going to happen? And this is where we have Kawaki, who says, "Hey, how long are you going to lie there for?" And Boruto says, "You're the one who's lagging behind." Jura says, "Kawaki, what's going on? This power is completely different level from before." And Kawaki says, "Clench your teeth and hang in there, Boruto. If you go berserk or lose control, I will kill you right here on the spot." Is this hinting at my GOAT coming back? Is this hinting at the true GOAT, the one I know can be the only person to take down Jura, a true Otsutsuki? My GOAT Momoshiki. Is this hinting at something like this happening after Boruto are disrespected by Jura again, after Boruto and Kawaki even together are disrespected by Jura? This is where we now end up seeing Kawaki with his limiters off, as Jura has noted, and he uses the karma, where Boruto ends up saying, "Don't worry about it, go for it." And Kawaki says, "Bring it, damn bastard." And then the side text is, "The blade that carves open fate swings only once. Even if one side breaks, the other strikes without pause." And this appears to be the last page, if I am not mistaken, and we are going to be getting an epic showdown. Kawaki is not using version 2 karma just yet, and he'll probably be using it next chapter, as if he does activate version 2 karma, we know Boruto is going to immediately have his karma active. We see that Boruto is touching his hand that has the karma, it appears, so things are really looking interesting right now. And I don't know, bro, Kawaki just looks so good right now. Kawaki videos are going to be coming a lot more. Just let me know your thoughts, comments, and concerns. I'm trying not to be too loud right now, but it's been your boy Dynasty. This chapter is absolutely crazy, and let me know your thoughts, comments, and concerns in the comment section below. It's been your boy Dynasty, and I'm out, bruh.